Hey everybody, it's Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. Hope you're having a good one. What's good, what's good, what's good? So, a lot of stuff did happen, which is just a lot. Just a lot of stuff went down today that I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people that are scratching their heads. We're going to stick to investing news. That's what we're going to do, is stick to investing news. Give me a moment. I just want to bring up my notes. Because, I take copious notes on like freaking everything. And whatever I don't get to today, we will get to tomorrow. So, tonight's poll. You guys thought I forgot. What platform just introduced a crypto wallet for its creators? YouTube, TikTok, or X? And it's for their creators to get tips from their viewers. So which platform just introduced a crypto wallet for its creators? YouTube, TikTok, X, or other? If it's other, drop it in the comments. You know what to do. You know how that works. Let me go back over to live chat so I can see everything that's going on. So yeah, we had a lot go on today. The wearable tech market, amazingly enough, and I thought it would grow, and it has. And it's projected to have 55 million sold this year. It blew up it saw a 250% surge for Meta last year, and it's projected to hit like 55 million units sold, not this year, but by 2030. And I want you to think about that. That means whoever I speak with that's wearing glasses, I'm not going to trust you. You know, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. I'm from New York. What happens in New York, it never happened. Nobody saw anything. I'm just saying, I'm putting it out there for you. So people wearing those glasses, you're wearing a wire. You're wearing a wire. And snitches get what? Snitches get stitches. Just saying. But yeah, that's a huge market. That is a huge market. And people are running around with them and they're just, having fun, looking at stuff, doing simple things. I think it'll be just a little while before you start to see people actually use them the way they're meant to be used. And that's when you're really going to see things kind of heighten, is what I would say. That's going to be an interesting life when everyone, literally nowadays, you can't go anywhere without there being a camera. Like if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's, they've got those flock cameras in the parking lot taking pictures of all of the license plates, pictures of your faces, all that. It's here, it's now. No joke. And law enforcement can tap into those cameras, can tap into their data, all that, without a warrant. Without a warrant. And Home Depot and Lowe's have that in their parking lots. I don't see how that's not an invasion of privacy. Wow. I mean, they're not just grabbing your license plates. Those flock cameras grab every single little detail about your car. So, just letting you know, putting it out there for you. If you're a security conscious person, that's something to think about. Just saying. What else do we have? JP Morgan replaced proxy advisors with an AI tool called Proxy IQ. This is a big deal. This is a very, very, very big deal. So if you own stock, you usually get reached out to by some third party that says, hey, it's voting season. We can vote for you. And they collect all of those votes. And then they control all of those votes. Because most people don't actually vote. For their stocks, the board of directors, things like that, they don't normally vote. That's a really big deal. So these companies go out, these third-party proxy companies go out, grab all those votes, and then they vote however it is they want to vote. That's the big deal. And it's like, oh, they of course they have our best interests in mind. And then you start to realize, oh, wow. So JP Morgan said, skip that. We're going to have an easy system powered by IQ. It's going to be, powered by AI, and it's going to be called Proxy IQ, and we're going to roll that out. They're the first to do it. I do not believe they will be the last. This is going to show everybody else, oh, snap. If that works, you're going to see those third-party proxy companies slowly start to fade away. And it depends on how much momentum kicks up. Because if JP Morgan does it, then you could easily see a Morgan Stanley, a Goldman Sachs, all these other companies wind up doing the same thing. And that would utterly destroy that market. That would destroy that business. So think about using blockchain for the real estate industry and doing, titles. You would no longer have to worry about tracking your title because it's being tracked on the blockchain. So home title theft could quickly become a thing of the past, right? Because the title's on the blockchain. So when you think about this whole proxy IQ thing, the ramifications of this are huge, even though it has nothing to do with the blockchain, although that would have been a smart move. For me, I would have been like, oh yeah, let's do that via the blockchain or something. That would be mad cool. That would be mad cool. But, they have this AI thing. I'm trying to think, do I have anything with JP Morgan that I would have to vote for? I'm going to have to check that. I don't think I do, because I think I would have gotten a notice. I think I would have gotten a notice already. But imagine what that's going to do to the market space. Wow. Now, I want you to put that together with, if companies start taking their stocks and moving to the blockchain, I think a smart company is going to say, well, if the actual stocks are on the blockchain, how hard would it be to put the voting on the blockchain? So is this a short-term solution? Don't know yet. We'll see how that plays out. But the real thing is that if I have the stocks on the blockchain, what do I need with NASDAQ and the rest of them if I can do all that on the blockchain? Wow. That's what makes me stop and go, oh, this is going to be an interesting time period. Very interesting. What's going on? 8 Paws. I was talking about you today. Only good stuff. Only good stuff. Something about an RV. Yeah, only good stuff. So when I look at that, I'm like, wow, that would be crazy. Because the whole idea isn't necessarily what technology you're using. It's the fact that you're moving away from what? Yeah, moving away from those third-party proxies, right? 007 was good. Both of you, did you invest in yourself today? I know 8 Paws did, because she always says hello, and then she lets us know that she invested. So, 007, did you invest in yourself today? What else do we have? U.S. ETFs recorded a $1.48 trillion in net inflows in 2025, with a 28% increase, with VOO, $VOO, attracting $138 billion by itself. $138 billion by itself, while 72% of ETFs captured capital, meaning inflows. They were positive. It means only 38% were negative. Holy wow, Batman. Holy wow. I am great. Thank you. Thank you for letting us know you invested in yourself. But the term is, yes, I invested in myself today. It's meant to kind of drill it into your head. I know. I'm anal about it. It's meant to drill it into everybody's head, not just yours. That's why. So just so you understand where I'm coming from. Because so many people don't take the time. They don't take the 15 minutes. That's how you get started. 15 minutes to do something for you. I have a really good friend of mine, Strategia, and I bother her all the time. Take 15 minutes to do something for you. Right? Her husband does it. She has her kids do it. I make her do it. She's really, her and her husband are like mad smart. Her husband's a big wig at a bank. Not going to say what bank, but he's a big wig at a bank. You know, she's an executive at a bank. Really, really nice people. And I try to get them to concentrate on doing that 15 minutes for yourself. 15 minutes. Do your own, because we have the GMB3, right? Do your own research, 15 minutes. Know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. These are not hard things. 007, thank you for that. I appreciate that, man. So it's not a hard thing. Because if you do that, that 15 minutes leads you to, oh, so they're going to leave third-party proxies, and then you're able to actually extrapolate from there. Because you're familiar with everything that's going on. That's the big deal. And then 15 minutes turns into 15 hours. Not per day. She does not mean per day. Sometimes. But yeah, you grow from that 15 minutes. You want the 15 minutes to become a habit. And then 20 minutes becomes a habit. And then after that, you stop counting, because it was never about the 15 minutes. It was always about you doing something for yourself. See what I mean? And I bug all my friends. I bug all my friends about that. Oh, I didn't have time to do this. You had time to sit there and scroll on your phone. Yeah, but... But what? It's sort of like, you know, my mother used to tell me when I was young and I started making money, like running errands, stuff like that, just doing odd stuff for people. She would say, don't spend all your money in one spot. But the candy store is right there. So I wouldn't spend all my money at the candy store. I'd buy some stuff at the candy store and then go to the pizzeria. That's what I used to do. Right? But you start to realize, you start to learn, holy moly, I should be paying attention to certain things. The same way that I sit in front of you and I give you a piece of news, I say, this is what it is. And then I extrapolate from there. That's exactly what you're going to be able to do. You'll be able to see things. The other day I said, there are 3 companies that are going to pop. ConocoPhillips, Chevron, ExxonMobil. I'm like, yeah, those are going to pop. And then I came back and I told you guys, I forgot about one. I forgot about Valero. And by the way, Valero popped the most. Valero popped the most, and I forgot all about Valero. So even with all the research that I do on a daily basis, even I can miss things. So I got 3 out of the 4. Cool. Imagine had I not done my own research, if I wasn't on top of it, if I wasn't paying attention, I wouldn't know anything. I wouldn't know anything. Yo, Hutanic. Thank you for letting me know that you invest in yourself. I'm just reading what your note says. Oh, man. Hold that thought. Don't let me forget it. Hold that thought. I wanted to have a conversation about that. Let me get to some more news besides that news. Excuse me. So you had that U.S. job openings fell to 7.1 million in November 2025, the lowest since September 2024. The job to unemployment ratio dropping below 1-to-1 for the first time since 2021. And then in December, this past month, it was stagnant. I told you, jobs were not in a good place. We're not in a good place. Last year, we lost over 1.1 million jobs. This year, we're slated to losing even more. And if you're paying attention to what Morgan Stanley said the banking industry alone is going to shed about 200,000 jobs by 2030. Think about that. 200,000 jobs by 2030. And they're saying, well, some of it's going to be because of AI and automation and other things. But yeah. That doesn't mean that other jobs won't pop up. It just means that those jobs are going to wind up falling by the wayside. A lot of those jobs are back office jobs. A lot of those jobs are going to be analysis jobs. All those business analysts, things like that. I told you last year that OpenAI was hiring contractors, basically Excel monkeys. Yeah, that's what we call each other when you're battling in Excel all the time, writing macros, doing that kind of stuff. Those analysts that are doing financial analysis or were being hired by OpenAI to help them create those models. Why? Because obviously they're going to create agents from them. Hence, again, they're not going to have jobs. There are certain things that AI is really good at, and there are certain things that you shouldn't use AI for. But that kind of data analysis stuff wouldn't hurt you to get involved in that. AI can do that. So volumes and volumes of data. And here's the kicker. When I was doing reporting, I still do reporting as a program manager, as a portfolio manager, you have to write reports for different constituencies, right? Different stakeholders. Because they receive information differently. A stakeholder that's in IT is going to be interested in these things first. So you're going to bubble those up to the top. Person over here on the business side, they're going to have different things bubble up to the top. You're serving the same information. They're being pulled from the same data. It's just what slice and how do I give it to each different group of people? Well, AI is going to be able to do that like that. So the hours and hours that it used to take to pull together all these executive reports, it's going to take AI minutes. And then some human being will tweak, and then it'll get forwarded out. Done. Jobs will be changing. Jobs will absolutely be changing. So now you know why I look at all these things. So when I look at, jobs already feeling a hit and then probably going to feel another hit, I'm kind of like, Titanic, don't let me forget. I'm getting there. Memory and data storage stocks like SanDisk and Seagate surged in 2026, the opening of 2026. Why? Well, because these other companies got out of the retail business. They absolutely got out of the retail business, and that is a huge deal. Huge deal. And you start to realize, holy moly. So those stocks popped big. They popped big. What was it? 26% for one? Sorry, my bad. Sorry. 27%. 27%. We're seeing things change right in front of our eyes, and a lot of people aren't paying attention to those things that are changing right in front of our eyes. Please start to pay attention. Please, oh please, oh please, oh please, oh please, start to pay attention. Make notes of these things. They're not small. All of these things come together and tell a story. Another story that I heard. Give me one moment. Another story that I heard. Excuse me. A Brazilian fintech called PicPay from Brazil is going IPO in the United States. $1.37 billion in revenue last year, $59 million in profit last year. Now, that's a big deal because it was only $59 million. But going IPO in the United States gives you a way to get into that Brazilian investment. This is why companies do this. They go IPO in different markets because it opens them up to greater liquidity pools or greater amounts of money. That's going to be interesting. I'm still waiting for companies to come out and say, yeah, we're selling our shares. We're not going IPO, but we're selling our shares over here on this platform. There are several platforms out there that do that. So look at that first piece of news that we went over. It's going to be big. Changes are afoot, and it's going to rock the stock market. The Dow's not going to be the Dow the way it was. They're going to have to change their game a little bit. Think about it. They're going to have to change their game a little bit. What else is going on? U.S. bank M&A activity. Remember, I've been telling you about how this bank is buying this bank. We had a Peruvian bank buy a U.S.-based bank. We're having different banks buy each other out so they can grow. Yeah. That went up to 181 deals last year. That was a rise of 45% just in the banking industry. These small little banks are trying to grow up a little bit, increase their reach. Pay attention. I told you some of these smaller banks are going to start eating the lunch of some of these bigger banks. Bigger banks don't just have fintechs to worry about. They have others to worry about as well. Just saying. Just saying. Will Trump have to... Actually, let me get to that in a minute because this one falls into that one. Do you believe upper people in companies will begin to lose their positions to AI? I think lower people will. And because of lower people, you won't need as many upper people. Upper people have already been squeezed into thinner layers. Because I don't need you. I don't need you. What do you bring to the table? If all of these people are doing the work and now AI is doing that, you have nobody to manage. So either take this job cut or you can take this package. Hutanik, I'm only holding off because that's a longer conversation. I think that one's going to be good. So you start to realize, you start to go, holy moly, now that's interesting. Look at it if you're a big bank. Go look up how many employees Citi has. Go look up how many employees Morgan Stanley has. Around the world, just how many employees they have around the world. How many contractors they have around the world. And then start to realize, wow, a lot of those people are going to go away. A lot of those people are going to go away. Project management, Scrum Masters, yeah, you're probably going to go away. Junior developers, people are like, oh, AI is going to take development jobs away. Junior developers, maybe. Because, AI is only as good as a junior developer. It can help a developer, but it's not going to replace a developer. You kidding me? Have you seen some of the crap, some of the slop that comes out? Oh, man. Whenever I hear somebody that says, oh, I wrote this package and it works and it does this and it does that. And I'm like, yeah, maybe. You know who's going to use, what developers are going to leverage AI to its fullest? Real developers. Real developers are going to use it to its fullest. That's why junior developers are going to have a hard time. Because if I give a good AI coding package to a senior developer, that senior developer is going to be able to take care of a lot of minuscule stuff that they don't want to do, that they would normally give to a junior developer. What problem does that bring? Oh, yeah, we won't have anybody in the pipeline to replace those senior developers. Or everything's going to be done by a machine anyway, man. Yeah, no, it's not. Not if you want quality. Not if you want quality. There was what's this guy's name? Brian Gerstner from Altimeter Capital, I think is the name of the company. He was on CNBC and he was like, listen, why should I have to buy seats, buy licenses, a big software company, when I have somebody sit there and code something out really, really fast? You ever hear this company called Typeform? There's another company called OpenForm. OpenForm supposedly was made in about an hour, leveraging all kinds of AI tools by one guy. Yeah. So you're going to see all kinds of people lose their jobs because they don't bring any value to the table. Other people that know how to leverage AI, oh, we want that person. They think differently. I was watching an interview with Mark Cuban one time, and they asked Mark Cuban, they said, what's the number one skill that you're looking for in a new employee? And he said, creativity. Creativity. Creative thinking solves problems. Creative thinking becomes innovation. Creative thinking builds things we never even realized we needed. Ta-da! I reported that a while ago. Fifth Third Bancorp buying Comerica. I reported that like a while ago. I'm very upset that you're not reading my articles. It's gonna make me cry. Now, Hutanik, will Trump have to get legislation passed or by executive order ban corporations from buying single family homes? Oh, that will have to be legislation as far as I'm concerned. That is not going to be an executive order. He can write an executive order that says, well, you're going to have to create legislation for that. What was it? Year and a half ago, we had that story come out that you had 3 companies in the Atlanta area. It was a story on 60 Minutes. Year and a half, 2 years ago, something like that. The story came out on 60 Minutes where you had 3 companies own 30,000 single family homes in the Atlanta area. One of those companies owned 11,000 by itself. Imagine that. Choke on that one for a minute. I know it's not nice, but it is what it is. You have some of these companies, Blackstone, BlackRock, through various different vehicles running around the country, even regular people. Think Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, running around buying up things. And then there's nothing left for anybody to afford. And here's what really happens. Not only do they buy it at a higher price, and then they sell one at an even higher price. What does that do? Oh, it raises up all the comps in the neighborhood, doesn't it? I told you guys before, it was increasing the moat between the haves and the rest of us. You missed that one. You already made me cry. I think I saw a start that 20% of 3-bedroom and 2 baths are corporations. That number might be larger. But what the hell does a corporation need with buying single family homes, right? Remember back in the day, a corporation would go out and they'd get a few apartments, corporate apartments. It's corporate condos, stuff like that. Yeah, you remember those days. That was when it was real. But they're running out there and buying single family homes. And you know what's even worse is they have no intention of selling those homes. The only thing they're going to do is rent them. That's all they're going to do. Rent those homes out at exorbitant prices. Exorbitant prices. I saw an article today where it seems like Austin, Texas might be the only city in the union that has seen a decrease in apartment rental costs. Because when everybody was flocking into, my kids are having so much fun right now. When everybody's flocking into Texas, prices skyrocketed, like up 35% or something like that. And then, so they saw that, well, Texas has got nothing but land. So they went building. They went bonkers building. And now, because they did all that building, prices have come back down to where they were. But before, prices were sky high. Not every place has that kind of land to be able to do that kind of construction. And then single family homes, you used to have a choice. Single family home, rent. Rental properties have gone up so high that you're in a lot of cities, you're in a lose-lose situation. The only win that you get is when you buy a house, well, you got to take care of it. Ugh, who the heck wants that? That's ugly. So the win still kind of goes toward rent something. And people are like, oh, but you don't get the tax write-off. You don't get that much of a tax write-off on the freaking mortgage anymore anyway. But yeah, I think Trump threw that out there, and I don't know how popular that's going to be with companies like BlackRock and Blackstone and all these other corporations and all these wealthy people that went out there and bought up all that property. Now, does that mean on a go forward, if something were to go through, does that mean on a go forward you can't do that anymore, or you'll have to sell off? Yeah, I don't know about Texas, bro. I used to love going to Austin. I've done a lot of work in El Paso, Houston, Austin. I don't know. I don't know. Let me know when their power grid steps up. Yeah, you let me know when that power grid steps up, and then maybe you will be insurance poor in Texas. Yep, that's another thing that you have. So what issues do we have in this country? Remember, I told you guys to keep your risk list going, right? Insurance, healthcare, real estate costs. And Hutanic just said, listen, if you go to Texas, Texas has an insurance problem when it comes to real estate, just like Florida. Yeah. Yeah. So prices might take a little bit of a dip, but insurance? And then how was the house made? Because some of these houses were made, later on, and you got to wonder about the quality. You have to wonder about the quality. Like, is my house, printed by a cement printer? I'd take one of those. I would absolutely take one of those. Because your house will still be standing. Yep. So yeah, I'd be thinking about that. Insurance poor, meaning insurance will cost you that much. Actually, Hutanic, you answer that question. You're the insurance guy. So imagine. So when I look at, when I heard about what the new regime said, I sat there and I was like, yeah, is that really going to be the case? Is that really going to be the case where he could just say, well, we're not going to do this anymore? I don't know. Is he saying it just to say it? Does he really mean it? Who did he assign that to? Was it actually assigned, or is it just, bluster? Yeah. See how that is? And I duly noted, but also noted that in 2 weeks, we're going to do blah, blah, blah. 2 weeks comes and goes. So I don't know. Florida is running the largest assigned risk pool for property. It is ridiculous. Assigned risk pools are designed because insurance companies don't write it. That's a great lesson. Thank you for that, Hutanic. That's a great lesson. Do a little bit more research into that, guys, because it's a very big deal. It's a very big deal. Hutanic, tell me if I'm wrong. It's basically that's the pool you go to because insurance companies don't want to be there anymore. So this is the bare minimum insurance, or the only insurance you can get your hands on. So let me know if I'm right on that statement. Why do you write I as EYE? I was just about to ask. Yeah, there are a lot of technologies out there that you do. Like, so my solutions architect didn't have his house built, but bought a brand new house. That house was built by this builder that was known to only build weather-resistant homes. Basically almost any place in Florida is off the water, right? So got to have some kind of flood insurance any place in Florida, and that's not going to happen. So his house is built very well. They've weathered every storm since they've had that house with no problem, not a shingle missing. Because cinder block, and cement. You can live at the highest point in geography, but you have to pay flood premiums like you were in a flood zone. Yup. And you should be mindful of your insurance no matter where you live, because a lot of these companies are changing the flood zones and expanding them. Oh, why are they doing that? Have you been paying attention to water tables and glacier meltings and all that other good stuff? Now you know why I keep telling you guys, you have to invest just to survive. Not just in crypto, but you have to invest just to survive. And your first investment is you, right? That's your first investment. And the reason why I say this is because you need to understand, you need to keep your finger on the pulse, because this year your insurance is fine. Next year, your insurance could be hosed. And don't wait for your insurance company to tell you what your new premium is going to be. Don't do that. Start doing research before that date, long before they reach out to you. Start doing research. Start doing research. Compare apples to apples. If you can, get yourself a good insurance broker that will actually help you figure out the right insurances. Take it to a couple of people. Do something. Insurance by far is the largest cost in Florida. Texas is running just behind them by a decade. I don't know what that means by a decade. Last I checked, Texas insurance sucked too. And you don't have to wait for an additional 10 years for it. Because I have this, okay. It makes property tax look cheap. Ah, okay. Gotcha. But now you understand why I'm saying I don't think it's going to be one of those things where he can just say something and all of a sudden miraculously that's what's going to happen. Because legally they're allowed to buy those properties. It would take legislation to actually put that into law, right? Put a bill forward that he'd then be able to sign. But you can't just stand up and say, well, I'm not going to allow those companies to do that anymore. He said something else today, that he's not going to allow defense companies to pay out dividends and have stock buybacks. What? How does that even work for you, bro? Remember, we were talking about this, when was it, yesterday or the day before, where I said, by law, a publicly traded company, their only job is to increase the value for stakeholders, not employees, not customers, stakeholders. That was decided in the Supreme Court. Yeah. So you're just going to jump up and say, oh, we can't do dividends anymore. We can't do stock buybacks. And his thought process threw me for a loop. Like, I was just like, because it's progressive? I don't know a lot of progressive people that actually like that idea, because stock buybacks are just manipulating the stock price to go up. There's no actual value increase. It's just that less stocks are out on the street. So, Insane. And then I want you to ask yourself, well, Congress only passed 40 bills last year. The least productive Congress ever. And so you're coming up with these ideas, and we still have to lock down the Genius Act. I reported about that this morning, so go watch the video. And then you still have a lot of work to do for the Clarity Act, as well as other things that are coming up. So where did those two ideas come from? What are you talking about? I don't think there's a single corporation that's sitting there going, oh, that's a good idea. And I'm wondering if he just told them, hey, this is the murmur going on in Washington. You better go buy up everything else now. That's how I took it. That's literally how I took it. So what are going to be the 2026 priorities for Congress that are going to affect my bags? Because if they're going to work on those two things, well, what about energy? That's a massive problem. That is a massive, massive, massive problem. I think about that a lot. I mean, you get rolling brownouts without data centers, without warehouses. Remember a few years ago, New York City told Amazon to go kick rocks. You're not building another warehouse out here. Yeah. Or you can, but we're not giving you anything. We're not giving you anything for that. All these companies, they want to do big things, but they don't want to have to pay taxes for it. So they convince whatever municipality they're going to be in is like, oh, we're going to bring jobs. How long are those jobs going to last? Construction jobs, it's going to take you only a couple of years to build this out. Even if you said it was going to be 3 years to build something out, that's only 3 years. So for 3 years of jobs, you're going to give them like 20, 30 years of tax breaks? See how that works? I'm not exaggerating, by the way. Go look it up. You can go look it up. Why do all the companies, take New York City for example, why do you think all those companies, forced everybody to come back to the office? One, because they can't get out of their leases. Two, if they don't actually bring jobs to the city, meaning bring people to the city, they don't get the tax write-offs, right? They don't get those tax breaks. So they needed everybody to start coming back to the city because not being in the city closed a lot of businesses. Aha. And then you're sitting there going, holy moly, that's no joke. That would be no joke. And you start to realize we're going to have to start to figure things out, and things can't go the way they're going. If these large companies and these wealthy people cannot define enough, maybe enough needs to be defined for them. Because they come up with the craziest of ideas, and amazingly enough, all of those ideas are always on their positive side. Again, do your own research, know your entries and exits, and absolutely invest deliberately. Because when you pull all of this information together, that's when you start to realize, wow, this really is going to affect my bags. It really is going to affect my bags. So if you live in a neighborhood where you've got some one-family houses, right, and they get bought up by corporations, yeah, the prices went up, but are they going to stay up? Because a lot of people that rent houses don't really care about the house, right? It's not theirs. They're only renters. So it really depends on where you're at, what you're doing, and all that other good stuff. I have a concern about jobs. Put housing together with jobs, and what do you have? People that make just enough money to be able to afford to live there, afford to do anything else. You're seeing buy now, pay later. They're saying, oh, buy now, pay later is about what it was last year. Is it? You have a lot more people defaulting on credit card payments and things like that. That's credit, right? Buy now, pay later. That's another form of credit. And when you hear that you have whole industries talking about, oh, we'll have a couple of 100,000 jobs go within the next 4 years. What? What'd you say? And I want you to stop and think about, if that industry has 200,000 jobs, not dollars, jobs, leave that industry, what are the follow-on effects of that job loss? Facts. Now, your point about mortgages, totally get it. Because it'll cost you. It used to be that buying a house was about 2 times your general income eons ago. It's 7.1 times your income now. Single income family, 2 times that single income could afford you a new house. 7.1 times income now to get a house now. Let that wash over you for a minute. And how many times does a house have to be paid for? Tax-wise. So when I start to look at everything that's going on, I literally, one of my favorite movies to watch, new movies, Ready Player One. Ready Player One. And so many people that have a job at that company owe that company money. And they have to work to pay it off. How long does that take? That's a mortgage on your life. Isn't that where we're going? Everything is going to be rented. Your car, leased. That's called a rental. Don't care what you say. That's a rental. Your apartment, leased. Your house, leased. Furniture, leased. So many things they don't want you to own anymore. And when I say they, I mean this bracket. And then there's the rest of us. Reformed Jersey bird, go stand in a corner. I don't know if you know what that means, but whenever somebody hits the nail on the head and makes me laugh, you get to go stand in a corner. But yeah, 50-year mortgage. Imagine that. They already have 40-year mortgages. A 50-year mortgage? How old are you going to be before that mortgage gets paid off? Your kids will have to pay for that mortgage. I mean, if they wanted to keep the property. Have you thought about that? So if you want to survive, you have to invest. So many people get that wrong. They don't understand. When I have a conversation with somebody and I try to talk to them about investing, my first parlay into the conversation is, well, what do you do to invest in yourself? They don't know what that means. Invest in yourself. Big deal. Imagine that. And those that do understand, oh, you have to invest in yourself, all that good stuff, they're afraid of crypto. And I'm like, great, you could be afraid of crypto. What about stocks, bonds, options, real estate, businesses? All the other things that are available to you to actually invest. And while you're investing, how about you read a book about how money moves and why all these big companies are moving toward blockchain technology? Digital assets. Oh. So every time I hear somebody tell me, oh, I'm not down with the crypto stuff, man. I'm not down with the crypto stuff. That's crazy. It's a scam. It's a scam that's being used right now to move your money along with other people's money around the world. Banks are using it to move value around the world. Own a property. Has it been tokenized? Do you know? Yeah. Interesting, right? And then you start to realize, holy moly, that's a problem. Because so many people don't understand how that works. Ray Dalio has a whole, I don't agree with Ray Dalio all the time, but he's sharing a lot. He's sharing so many pearls of information. He's got a series of cartoons that literally explain to you money, the rise and fall of various fiat, the rise and fall of various fiat. And he compares the United States dollar to. Go watch those. Go read books. The news I'm giving out today, you'll start to put those dots together. So a couple of weeks ago, we heard Micron was dropping its retail business. There were like three major manufacturers of memory, and I think at least two of them said we're done with retail. Micron said we're getting rid of our crucial business. We're going to focus over here. Wow. That was huge. And then you hear how SanDisk had their stock go up 27%. Why is that? Well, the market just got smaller. They just raised prices. Did they have to? No, they didn't. They said, no, we're just getting out of it and we're just going to raise prices. NVIDIA did it to one of their cards. They didn't have to raise prices. The 5090 Ti card has been found in many a gaming system. Many gaming systems. The cost of that card went from $2,000. They raised it up to $5,000. 2.5x. What? Huh? Wow. And you start to realize, holy moly, things are really getting real. Look at any futuristic movie. Something else I want to bring to your attention. Look at any futuristic movie, and what do you have? People renting cars. Public cars just sitting there in a row looking like it. Watch Ready Player One. And when you see Ready Player One, you're going to see, wow, there are cars just lined up. They all look the same. Like city bikes. Eons ago, they were coming up with concepts sort of like shopping carts. So people could just come outside, grab a car, and go. They didn't own the car. Yeah, it's like in some countries, you could just grab a bike and go. Put it in a bike rack, and the next person will grab that bike and go. Yeah. And there was a contest by one of these car manufacturers to actually create how would we store as many cars as possible in a small space. One kid came up with a car system, and the idea literally came from shopping carts, where this car, the back would lift up and the car would go underneath and would just keep going down the line. It just looked like one big snake. And if you wanted a car, you went to the front of the snake or the back of the snake, you grabbed your car and you left. Yeah. Self-driving vehicles. Where do you think they're going with that? Prevalent in China, not here. Why is that? You start to realize things are changing in a very big way. Very big way. Reformed, now you're going to stay in the corner. That statement is true. You'll own nothing and you'll like it. Oh, yeah. It's not funny, though. It's true. Insurance meeting this week with bigwigs. Auto insurance will eventually cost per trip to reduce rates for most people, probably through the ODBII port on a car. I think I know what port you're talking about. Shoot, I own things and I don't like it. You take your butt to the corner, too. Both of you. Go hang out in the corner. The world is changing. You have to keep up on the news just to make sure that you know. You know what another good question for tonight would have been? What state stablecoin launched today? Kansas, Arkansas, or Texas? Or other? Which one is it? I'll tell you. It's Wyoming. Wyoming launched the Frontier stablecoin, the first state-issued stablecoin pegged to the dollar with reserves managed by Franklin Templeton. How's that? Again, I asked the question that I asked a while ago. We've got 50 states plus X number of territories. If everybody came out with their own stablecoin, what the hell does that mean? Help me out. I heard the JP coin launched on the Canton network. I have to go verify that, but I heard that's one of the other things I heard. But if everybody has a stable coin, Like the Frontier coin. What are you going to do with that? Oh, you can pay your bills using the Frontier coin. Really? Oh, that's convenient. Now, why do I pay attention to Wyoming? There's a special reason why I pay attention to Wyoming. Wyoming is really big on privacy. Really big on privacy. When people start their trust funds and everything else, where do they go? One of the states is Wyoming. So when I look at the stable coin for Wyoming, I wonder what the privacy is like. That's research I still have to do, but I wonder what the privacy is like with that stable coin. Because imagine, I have a trust. The trust is holding some kind of digital asset. They flip it into Frontier and pay whatever state bills they're going to pay. That usage, right? That usage takes that stable coin because it would have a use case. I'm dying to find out what the use case is for that stable coin. Because that would be insane. That would be insane. And then you start to realize, well, again, back to all the other states. There were 3 states. I think Las Vegas, Wyoming. There was another state. I think there are only 3 states that you really should do your trusts in. But what happens if you have 50 states create stable coins? I mean, first of all, I could tell you now, if New York State ever came out with a stable coin, that would be the one stable coin I ain't doing. New York is so hard to do business in. So hard to do business in. And then I start to wonder, well, how many states will come together to have a stable coin? Like how many states? So you could look at New York, New Jersey, Connecticut. Those are very intertwined states. Those are very intertwined states. They already share, ticket information, toll information, all that kind of stuff. So it makes me wonder, well, so what happens if the 3 states came together and said, we're going to do a stable coin? Holy moly. What happens if those states say, oh, you can pay your people in that stable coin? Great. How does that stable coin get managed? Meaning, is it going to be on various exchanges? How do I get my hands on that stable coin, in other words? You'd have to open it up somehow. And is it only going to be fiat to stablecoin? Or is it going to be any digital asset, any value to stablecoin, right? Because you'd have to open it up. You'd need to be on something like Coinbase or whatever centralized exchange or decentralized exchange. How far do you go with that stablecoin? If it has a use case. That's when you start to wonder, wow, that's going to be interesting. That's going to be crazy interesting. More than likely land, Virginia Department of Environmental Quality, DEQ, launched a digital marketplace for environmental credits using the Hedera platform. There you go. Using Hedera. But it's not just going to be that. We're talking about Wyoming. Again, one of the 3 states that you go to create a trust. So are they doing this stable coin and introducing that and maintaining that high level of privacy? Oh boy, I just have a lot of questions. I have a lot of questions. So yeah, like I said, you're going to have to invest in order to survive. I don't know that there would be no privacy. That's what I'm saying. We have to do the research. Not going to hypothesize on it. But Wyoming is known to be ridiculously... No, go look that up. I'm not answering that question. Go look it up. It's that easy. Go look it up. Not being mean. I'm being serious. Go look that up. It's mad easy to go look that one up. Then you'll see. I can't make everything easy for you guys. So what platform introduced a crypto wallet for its creators to get tips? Like me, I'm a creator. I love tips. See what I'm saying? YouTube, TikTok, X, or other. And it's not YouTube. I wish it was. But YouTube has a mechanism where you guys can give me tips. They have a mechanism for that. Yeah, it's Rumble. Rumble introduced a digital wallet so that you could give tips to its people. It makes me say, well, damn, maybe I should stream over on Rumble, get some tips. Just saying. I mean, if you can give tips via crypto, holy moly. But then again, I can just pop on my wallet address and say, guys, hit me up with something at my wallet address. eddiej.eth. EDDIEJAY.eth. Yep. Ethereum, Bitcoin, Doge, few coins. It'll accept a few coins. You can actually see it. That's a real thing. EDDIEJAY.eth. Both cypherpunks and both expect a lot from the organization. I feel like I missed a conversation. Why'd you answer that? No, he needed to go do the research. I can give you food or I can teach you how to fish. Just saying. Anyway, everybody, this is Eddie J on Crypto for GrowMyBag.tv. I hope you like what I'm doing. If you do me a favor. Smash the likes. Tell your friends about this community because we're a growing community and we do a lot of good things. And I'm pretty sure you guys are starting to recognize that, or else you wouldn't be here. So I think you guys get it. As always, thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And absolutely, thank you for your trust. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 6:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for the daily. Have a good one, everybody. Bye-bye.